I'm Patricia Allingham Carlson, and this is an end-to-end of my painting, Covered Bridge at New Britain. It was a beautiful day in the fall, and my whole extended family, including the little ones, went for a walk at Covered Bridge Park in the Doylestown Chalfont area. Approaching the namesake of the park, the view was just splendid, and I took many photos. This is what came next. I went home to paint it. I hope you enjoy the video. Give it a thumbs up. Now let's paint. Starting a new painting. This is a covered bridge going over the Neshaminy Creek at Covered Bridge Park in Chalfont Doylestown area. I'm starting out with a sketch of the shoreline, and there's the covered bridge, making sure that everything is in good geometric shape and not out of whack. And now I'm laying in some blocking. I spray everything up with water in one area, and then I touch in the bright concentrated paint. This happens to be Indian red mixed with cadmium red. I wanted a nice burnt, rusty red color. Since I'm looking through trees, I wanted to leave some areas where the leaves would be showing. And that's why I'm painting in this blotchy manner. Dropping in some yellows for the leaves. And then coming in with some greens on top. This is early fall, so we had a lot of different colors in the leaves. I was taking a nice hike at Covered Bridge Park with my whole family, and it was a beautiful day. I took this photograph because the scene was just so lovely. Now I'm continuing to add more and more pigment because I do want this part, the focal point of my painting, to be nice and bright. Next, I wet in some of the stream area. And looking at my photograph, my reference photo, I'm coming in with the colors of the reflections that I see. I'm starting with the yellow because that's my lightest color. When I paint water, it's frequently a combination of horizontal strokes to show the directionality of the water, and some vertical and diagonal strokes to show the trees and what is being reflected into it. One of the strongest things that was being reflected into this stream was the actual bridge. I'm starting out with what's around it first in the reflections, and then I will be painting in the bridge reflection. When you paint wet on wet, your colors will blend nicely, but they also will fade. So you're seeing me reinforce the colors by adding more while it's still wet. And you'll see me do this 2, 3, even 4 times. Now the whole bridge area was beautifully sunlit, and as we moved forward in the picture, it got darker and darker. I'm moving on to the distant shoreline and what is being reflected and shown way back further in the background. Trees, shrubs, banks, some rocks. The right side is far more lit up by the sun, which is why I'm painting it so yellow. The left side is far more in shadow. Doing a little sketching to show some of the plants and mark them for myself for later. On the banks. And now I'm going to tie the bridge together. The top where the roof is, and then the bottom. Since I'm looking up at the bridge from below, the roof is very foreshortened and is not very large. I do see a bit of the bottom of the bridge. And that ties it together very nicely and separates it from the background. And here comes the very bright color of the bridge showing in the water below. In some areas it appears red, and in other areas as it goes into dark shadow it appears very dark, and I'm pulling some blue indigo into that reflection color. You know, it doesn't even make a whole lot of sense, but it will as I continue further adding the shorelines. The white spots in the middle of the reflection are rocks. And moving forward in the water, we're going into deep shadow. So I'm painting some good dark colors in the foreground water. Here I'm going back and adding a little bit more of a blending between the red bridge, the background reflection color, and the foreground. Here's a shoreline, and I'm defining that next. It's sort of in the midground. And I'm coming into the middle ground on the left side of the stream. I'm painting in the foliage that's back behind the bridge as well as what's next to it. At the top, it's very sunlit. So I'm mixing a lot of yellow into the colors of the leaves. Again, I put the yellow down first because that's my lightest color. I can paint darker colors over top of yellow, but if I paint a dark color and I want it to be yellow, it's very hard to show the yellow as a pure color. So it's best to add the lighter colors and cover them up if you need to. I don't usually paint the trees as a straight line, but rather as broken lines, because branches come in front. So the tree will start showing, it will sort of disappear behind a branch, it will come back, and so on. I just have to make sure to put the branches in front of the areas wherever the tree stops being. And now I'm beginning to define the right side as well of my foreground. And this is the closest part of the bank. Looking at my reference photo and seeing exactly where the trees are light, where they're dark, and what color they are appearing in the light. And coming on top of the light color with some strong textural brush strokes. I want to show bark and I want to show texture, not just some flat thing. The trees should have a darker side and a lighter side, and then they should have something going on in their surface. Whatever their bark might look like, that's what I want to show. The diagonal reflection I just added was from the tree on the little bank further back in the background there. And this is my darker bank, and I am getting quite dark, mixing together Hooker's green darker with some indigo, maybe even some purple, maybe even a little bit of sepia. And when you put these strong darks in, you'll see your painting start to begin to come together. And that's what I'm seeing here in mine. I'm adding a little blue to the sky and painting around some of the existing trees that I already added and leaves up there. And adding these very dark colors and textures to the foreground trees really is making them come forward and pop. But you can see I'm trying to preserve the lighter side on the left from which direction the sunshine is coming. I'm also trying to be true to my reference photo, exactly where the shadows are and where the lights are. As the trees go down into the bank, you'll see the plants are coming up in front of them, so that's why it looks like they're broken down in the bottom. There's leaves in front of them, behind them, and all around them, naturally coming from the tree. I just covered the tree area with my hand and gave it a little spray, and now I'm coming in with some colors. Starting with my lightest colors first for the sunshiny colors. Then coming in with the next darker color, which is a lime green in this case. And last, some Hooker's Green Deep to really kick up the colors and the shadows. I've just added some blue, which is a very cool color for the bank. And I'm trying to show some rocks going on. Some yellow ochre and some burnt sienna. And it's starting to weed up, and it's showing what I want to show. I've decided to make the roof a little darker in color and to provide a shadow line at the bottom of it. And I'm painting around the trees that are in front of it. I've sprayed and blocked the roof, sprayed the background, and I'm adding some tree colors back behind the bridge's roof. Yellow, orange, maybe a little red, and definitely some more green. When I get a good dark color on the brush, I'll paint it where I'm thinking of painting it, and then I'll look around the painting. Since the color is already there, I might as well use it in some other areas that might require it. To me, it sure beats washing it out and wasting the paint. So that's why you'll see me jumping around sometimes. I'm really a frugal artist, as much as I can be, and I try not to be wasteful. And that comes from a background where I didn't have a lot of money for supplies. So I used and I reused. But I think historically artists have done that, painting over canvases several times. I can't quite do the same thing with watercolor, but I certainly can collage. And I've done that many times as well. Developing the left bank. It's very dark where it goes down toward the water. It gets lighter as it moves up. Some more development of the leaves on the right side. A little more work on the middle ground island or bank. And bringing out some more of the branches that are coming in front of the bridge. And now I'm working on the branches of the trees that started and stopped as they hit the bridge. They need to be brought on up and made natural. I'm adding a bit more detail on the right foreground side in the little weeds there, just because they are so close to the edge of the view. And here I'm going back over the reflection in the water to make it a little bit darker. This will be a new glaze of color. I'm also painting the bottoms of each of the rocks in the stream with a dark shadow. This ties them into the water and gives them the horizontal feeling of being in the water with the water going around them. Some more detailing of the right side and some more detailing of the branches up top. Next, I decide I should try to suggest some planks, because this bridge is made of wood, and the planks run vertically top to bottom. So I'm putting in some horizontal lines. I don't want them to be perfect and symmetrical, I just want to suggest them. And now I'm enhancing my darks yet again. And I'm also bringing out and accenting things that I think will add to the composition and enhance it. And some more branch work. I just decided to add a little tree on the right side. Just a sapling coming up next to the big maple. I'm also bringing out my darks in the maple tree even more. It's getting very close to being done, I think. The color I'm putting in right now at the top green is called Viridian, and it's a beautiful shade of blue-green. I thought that might offset some of the red color and add a nice complement. Bringing out the foliage against the bridge more, putting some shadows on the underside of the clumps. And adding some dark shadows on the left as well as on the right in the foreground. This is my evaluation to see which sides need more. And covering up, which is not usually done so quickly, but this is sped up, shows me where to work. I've added my signature and it's done. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I painted this covered bridge. I really enjoyed creating it since I love beautiful historic buildings. You'll see links below to click on, to like my video, to subscribe to it, and you can ring the bell to get notices for future videos. Also below, you could check on the products I use. You could find my Facebook art page and my blog, as well as some of my art products. I'm always happy to see your comments, and I'll see you next video.